still sick. If I sound a little nasally in this video, it's because I've been trying to get over an illness. Hey everybody, welcome back to The American Abroad. Today we're going to be talking about how to study abroad. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to be talking about is when to start. To be completely honest, you should probably start thinking about it at least a year before you want to go abroad. For example, if you want to start studying abroad your junior year fall semester, then you need to be thinking about it your sophomore year fall semester. If you're just going into college and you're really thinking about studying abroad, I would start now. Start your freshman year. If you can get all the information that you can about study abroad programs that are offered at your university or about study abroad programs that you are interested in, really consider thinking early about it. You'll have more time to do your applications because you're spending less time worrying and stressing about where you would like to go. Let me tell you, the process is lengthy. It can take a couple months before you hear anything back from your study abroad office. In my case, I applied in late January and I didn't get accepted until probably late March, early April. And that was just my study abroad office. That wasn't my program. I applied to my program the minute that I had been approved to study abroad from my study abroad office and my university. And within a week, I had been accepted to study abroad. Things to consider. If you're going to be funding your own study abroad program financially, you need to start saving as soon as possible, now if you can, because study abroad is not cheap. It's very, very expensive from the start. From the minute that you start turning in applications, you're going to be paying out money. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is, where do I start? Now this will depend completely on where you attend university. I would suggest starting at your study abroad office. This office is of course dedicated to study abroad students, to international students, and as well as students who are interested in study abroad. So they of course will be your best resource for programs specific to your university. Your study abroad office probably has a website with most of the information that you need to find out about programs, locations, etc. Another great resource for information on study abroad for your university is to definitely check out the Study Abroad Fair. This is a great way to find out major and college-specific programs. This is also a great way to find scholarships specifically for study abroad students. Alrighty, so now the fun part. How do I pick a location? Now this is the way I did it. I just based my location on my major. So that's definitely one way you could do it. You can choose your location based on your major depending on the programs that are offered. Another way to narrow it down is the language itself. For example, if you minor and major in it, that's a great way to knock out a couple credits or even all the credits that you need to finish it out. But something to consider if you are looking at locations but thinking, I don't want to learn that language, you may be required to take language classes within the host country that you are studying abroad in. So if you are not willing to learn another language or learn about another culture or regularly speak that language to people because some people might not speak English, perhaps study abroad isn't for you, or that specific program isn't for you. But of course, if you are not into foreign languages and you are going to stick with the good old English, there are a ton of study abroad programs that go to English-speaking countries, so you have no worries in the language department. Another thing to ask yourself is if the courses transfer back into your degree plan. From what I understand in regards to students in Texas, if you take any courses that don't transfer back into your degree plan, you won't get financial aid for those courses. So it's really, really, really important that if you are receiving financial aid, that you are taking courses that transfer back into your degree plan. Most importantly for me, when picking a location is, can you afford it? The other most important question is, will you remain a student if you study abroad with this program? There are, of course, a lot of different ways to study abroad in terms of program offerings. This is again dependent on where you go to university. At my university, we again have 4 different types of study abroad programs that you can participate in. Group-led, exchange, affiliated, and unaffiliated. So group-led is generally led by a department or a specific college. So if I were to go on a group-led study abroad program with my German department, it would be led by one of my German professors. At my university, group-led programs are generally 4 to 6 weeks long in the summer, and they often advertise the idea that you are not alone in this country just figuring things out for yourself. Tuition is, I think, paid to your university, and most credit, if not all credit, transfers back into your degree plan. The second option is exchange. Now, the way that exchange works is, again, dependent on the school. At least for my university, we cannot send students unless we receive students. The thing about exchange is sometimes you're alone, and sometimes you are going on exchange with people from your home university. Not necessarily people that you know. But universities often advertise this experience as being more authentic, because a lot of times you end up doing homestays with local families. Exchange students typically pay tuition to their home university instead of their abroad host university, that one. And of course, most, if not all, credit transfers back. It's all dependent on the program though, so really check with your study abroad office about that. The third option at my university is to go through an affiliated program. The way this works is the university approves certain outside program providers so that students have more of a selection in terms of where they can go to study abroad. I would definitely suggest this method for people who don't really mind studying with people that aren't from their home university or aren't from their state, because a lot of times it is you and only you with a bunch of other students that are from all over the country and sometimes all over the world. In my experience, tuition has been paid to my program provider, and all of my credit will transfer back into my degree plan. The fourth and final option is unaffiliated. Again, these are programs that are approved by the university for students to partake in. However, the catch is you don't remain a student at your home university, and upon return from your study abroad program, you have to reapply. I'm not entirely sure how tuition works and if it can be paid off by financial aid, as well as I'm not entirely sure about whether credit will be transferable. So after you've decided your location, you need to start getting comfortable with your academic advisor and your financial aid office. Your academic advisor will pretty much be the one that will be approving your courses while you're studying abroad, and possibly be the one that approves your financial aid to be dispersed. In my case, that was my academic advisor. You really need to get comfortable with talking with the financial aid office because they are going to be handling all of your financial aid that you have received if you're receiving any. So after you've established a relationship with your academic advisor, you've gotten comfortable with communicating with the financial aid office, now you can officially apply, but not yet, because you need to ask yourself first, can you even afford applying? I believe at my university it was either 100 or 300, one of the two, to even apply to study abroad. That was just to send in the application to get approved by my university to study abroad. That wasn't even my application to my program provider. That was just to get approved. And once you turn in that application, get ready to start paying fees, because everything seems to have a fee. What's wrong with this? Your application fee, your course verification fee, all the other miscellaneous fees, everything. Doesn't matter. It's a fee. And because this part of the process tends to differ per university, really consult your study abroad office about the correct way to apply to study abroad. But to generalize the entire process of applying to study abroad, it's a headache. You'll be writing essays on top of the schoolwork and the essays that you have to write for your lectures. There's a lot of paperwork, whether it be health forms or any legal stuff that requires your signature, contracts, binding stuff. It's a lot. That is why it is imperative to start early, because everything requires a processing time. It can take up to 3 to 5 business days for any of your paperwork to get signed, notarized, processed by study abroad, you name it, it's going to take that long. And when in doubt, just ask questions. Your study abroad office should have all the answers to your questions. And finally, you might get accepted. And if you do get accepted, congratulations, you did it. You went through the entire painful headache process. I'm just a tiny bit salty because my study abroad application process was hectic, to say the least. But when you receive your acceptance letter, you're good to go. Start planning at your home university, start planning abroad. It's gonna be a great ride because this is the fun part, getting to plan everything. But of course, more paperwork comes, because if you're like me, studying in an affiliated program, not only have you just received your acceptance letter from your home university, now you gotta go through the entire application process with your program provider. If you have to sort out your visa, start that as soon as you can. Luckily, I didn't have to sort out my visa beforehand, as I will be getting a residence permit when I'm in Germany. But if you're having to sort out your visa situation, appointments need to be booked months in advance. They also must be done in person at the consulate nearest you. Make sure to have all of the possible paperwork ready to go before you even go to the consulate, and you can find all of that by consulting the consulate for your host country. If you can, make sure that all your ducks are in a row before you even leave campus. If you can get in all the discussions, all the meetings, and all the cancellations done before you step off of campus, because having to deal with it via email and over the phone is also part of the headache. It's been part of my headache all summer. But once you do all of that, buy your plane ticket, but also consult your program about when you need to be arriving in your host country. Because countries that have stricter visa laws or have deadlines in which you need to sign up for residence permits, you need to be arriving at the proper time that is stated on your visa, or at the proper time in which you can apply for your residence permit. This is also super important because you don't want to be spending one day in your host country when you should be spending a couple months up to a year and get deported the next day. But after all of that, after all the headaches and all the paperwork and everything possible that you have to get done and it feels like it's just so much that you have to do, you can start packing and you can start getting excited about studying abroad, because you are going to have the journey of a lifetime, and it's worth the headaches and it's worth the waiting and worth all the paperwork in the world. If you have any questions about how to study abroad or study abroad in general, just leave them down in the comment section below and I will answer them if I can. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like, subscribe to my channel, and hit that bell so you can get notifications on when I post new videos. I hope you all have a beautiful week, and I will see you next Sunday. Bye guys.